Hey guys, thank you for joining us again for another exciting episode of YOMO. This is the Year of Magical Learning podcast. So today we are on Reflection 288, and this is a good book. So it's a two-part reflection. Today is part one of two, and the book is Leaders Eat Last by so.
Yeah, it's a good book. For some reason, I hate that I like Simon Sinek. I don't know what it is, but like, I don't want to like the guy because I see him on social
But you
media,
can't help but like him.
but he writes really good books. Adam Grant is the exact opposite. I see him on social media and I see him talking and giving podcasts and doing podcasts and give presentations, and I'm like, he's a likable guy. I see Simon Sinek and his media personality that he puts out there, and I'm like, I don't know that I like you as a person. But then I read his work and I'm like, I like you, Simon. And then I read Adam's work and I'm like, I like Adam's work, but like not actually Simon's is better in all seriousness, but I like Adam as a person better. And it's weird. I have a weird dynamic with these two. Needless to say, Simon Sinek has never let me down on a good book. Infinite Games was great. Start with Why was great. Leaders Eat Last is great. I think those are his three main books. Am I missing one?
Start with why is
Yeah.
probably what I know him from.
This is his, like, the book that made him famous, actually, was Leaders Eat Last. So anyway, so the book we're going to be talking about tonight is a book called Leaders Eat Last by Simon Sinek. It is Why Some Teams Pull Together and Others Don't. And this is a two-parter. So the book is about, well, why some teams pull together and why others don't. Like, that's exactly what the book's about. So it's pretty self-explanatory. It's in the title. My title for this one is Treat People Like People, but for the Right Reasons. This is not going to be news to you at all. This is what we've been talking about for the past 3 years, for the most part. Modern day, there's nothing that gets me more fired up than modern day business practices these days, specifically how they treat their employees. The truth of the matter is, you go work at Salesforce or you go work at Microsoft or Google or whatever, they're for-profit entities that make money and increase shareholder value. That's what they're there for. That's what they exist for. That's how they were started. That's how they were funded. That's how they continue to fund everything going forward. If somebody told me that up front, and we're like, look, you're here to be a cog in the wheel, to keep the machine churning out money so we can continue to move this thing along. You don't really matter, but you do, only because if we all do this together, then we can all make more money together, right? If that was their intention and they were just upfront about it, I'd be like, okay, fine, maybe I'll choose to work here, but like, I appreciate you being honest. The thing that pisses me off about modern day business practices is they discovered probably about 40 years ago, maybe back in the 80s, early 90s, through some MBA programs or whatever, they were like, man, if we can just get people to unite around a particular purpose and a goal, and make them feel like they're a part of something greater than just themselves, like, we can unlock all kinds of new explosive earning potential for the goals of our business, right? All of a sudden, you started to see amazing cultures being built around these businesses. Cultures like Google, Facebook, Apple, and Salesforce, these modern day behemoths that seemingly came out of nowhere. They did it by riding the wave of anchoring on culture around their money making venture. And a lot of people believe it. A lot of people believe really, really hard. And when they believe it, it is truly amazing what happens when people think that there's a purpose, a greater purpose to their work and meaningful relationships to help them do it. The results become explosive. But I think we all know all they did was repackage this whole entire thing like a shit sandwich in a Tiffany's box. I mean, it's still the same goddamn thing. They're all still going after nothing but money making ventures. That's what it is. Like, it just is pawn it off as something that's not that now these days. And that's what makes me so furious. And that's what you and I have been talking about for years and years now. So then you go, okay, fine, fair enough. Like, let's just call that the baseline that we all agree that is actually the reality of what it's like to work at one of these large cultures that are also wrapped around for-profit business ventures. Well, what do? You could leave and go be a freelancer, but the problem with that is you're on an island by yourself. And as Simon Sinek says in his book, there's nothing that's ever been created of real value in this earth that was done by a single person alone. It's not possible. Like, I don't care how talented you are, how much resources you have, it doesn't matter. You will never achieve anything if you do it by yourself. So this is where the reflection title comes in. For me, it's like, just treat people like people, but not for money, but simply because it's the right goddamn thing to do. Let them be their full human expression of meaningful work and meaningful relationships and building around a community and growing a culture. But do it because you want people to thrive as human beings. Don't do it because you want to make more money. So, like, that is what our mission kind of is with this whole entire thing, is like, how can we unlock the full human potential that we naturally like to be in a state of producing work that's meaningful to us with people that's meaningful, around us, and creating art and building a culture around that doesn't have anything to do with the, money as the objective. If we can get these explosive results around rallying around a particular thing, what would happen if you just did the culture? Like, I mean, I just don't understand. Why is this so hard? Just treat people like fucking people. It boggles my mind. So anyway, this is my and your, I would say, probably lifelong mission at this point in time to figure out how can we do this where people understand what we're talking about, shift the paradigm a little bit around where it's like, just, you're getting it right. You're just getting it right, applying it in the wrong place. Like, apply it to the right place for the right reasons, and then see what happens. Like, that's all I'm asking. Anyway, love to get your thoughts.
Well, yeah, to me, the society as a whole will never get there. It doesn't matter if the Googles and the Apples are doing it. It doesn't matter if Simon Sinek is saying, hey, you should do these things and should have, what was it? The thing is, if you have started out with a purpose in mind, that purpose is always going to be profit. So it doesn't matter what Simon's going to say to improve the team. It can probably going to improve just for a short term, just for a while, because
it could be 30 years, it could be 50 years, but it'll fall apart eventually.
Because there is a goal. There is always a goal to even get there. So if you go to somebody, say, hey, I want to join into this venture and we're gonna build these, and what do I get out of it? Oh, you get 200K or and 5% of blah blah blah. You are putting out that particular kind of a incentive, and when you put out that incentive has a deadline. It has an end to it, and so when there's an end to it, it could never continue. This is why we say. This is why the thing is, we may sound like a broken record by saying, hey, the solution to this problem is still the same. The answer I'm giving you is the same. It hasn't changed. And I believe, and I truly believe this, we have found the answers. We already found the answer. We just need to implement them and grow them. But we already found the answer because based on what you and I did, right? I'm saying is, what we do, it's called sustainability. That means that you and I can do this for generations. Even we're going to pass it on torch to the next, the 7th generation Aero co-committee chairperson.
Yep.
Right. And so the thing is, when you have the wrong foundation, which is, it's hard for society to come together and say, okay, I'm going to create something for the good of myself, which is, what is it? Because if you say, well, I need to go and make some money so that I can do this and that and the other. Because the thing is, people say, well, I'm going to work and then I'm going to use that money for them. Because that isn't a direct core values that you want. There is something else. But if you can find yourself doing the thing that is the core values, it doesn't stop. Just like, hey, I told you, hey, I like air and I want to breathe air, right? I'm not wanting something else. And I'm using air as a transition. But if we use, money as a transition, it will end. And it doesn't matter what you and I do. We can get together for a short term and do something, right? But eventually it's going to collapse and it's going to deteriorate. So that's why you look at the entries list, right? The entries list, probably they come in and say, well, I have a problem of my own. I can't find people. And that's a good thing to solve for. But eventually it still comes out to money. It still comes out to profit. And that's the target. And when you have the target, eventually you're going to hit the target. If you hit the target, it's going to end, or it's going to be driven by that core values, which isn't directly your core values. And that core value is going to eventually say, well, I think I don't want to spend more time in that core value anymore. I'm going to do something else. So it starts to deteriorate, starts to break, and that core values continue to become blended with other core values that people arbitrarily brings in, just like when entries get bought out by Home Advisor or whatever.
Actually, it was IAC is the parent company. They own all those internet .coms. They own 100 of the top probably 200 .com kind of companies.
But the thing is, they bring their values into, they blend their values into interest list, and then that becomes entirely something else. And people say, well, this isn't my core value. This isn't
this isn't my culture anymore.
That created. So how can it last? How can a team be together if they're not, unify in the things they do? I mean, if you and I love to breathe air, we live on Earth. We're not going to live. Like, you can't go to Mars, right? because you and I
Right.
love to be there. You and I love to eat cake. We're gonna be at a bakery all day long, and we're gonna be there like constantly every day, and we're gonna see each other. That's why the likeness of our core values attract us together into a group.
Keep coming back, and we'll keep working for nothing, for no money. We'll
For the
pay,
cake,
like, you
for
know,
the
like for
cake,
the cake,
right?
right? Yeah, yeah.
For the chance, for the opportunity to do the thing, right? It's I
Right,
get to do this, right? It's not like I
right.
have to do this. It's an opportunity to do this. Not what I get out of what I'm doing. It's for me to get to do. I get to play tennis. I play pickleball so people to pay me. You think about it, you're actually
Yeah.
paying people to pay. But that's the thing is when you say, well, I play pickleball so I get the money so I can do this, right? That isn't a direct core values that you want. It's a transition. When you do a transition, right?
Yep.
If that's the transition, they're always going to be temporary. That means temporary means eventually it's going to end. So you cannot continue to say, how can
It's not
I
sustainable.
have the most effective team? But you can't, because at some point you are effective, but then somebody else is effective because you're not aligned. Because maybe you get to the point where I have enough willpower that I can, kind of bulldoze through this thing, and I'm going to do this project. The other person is at a different stage in his or her life, and how can he become
I
best
mean,
at himself? And then when he's best at himself, you're not. And so it completely. But if you and I are on a page where we love to do what we do, whether we're eating cake, we'll go fishing, we'll play pickleball, whatever, we want to be there.
right.
We are paying to be there. So we are almost all the time is going to be at its best self. And if you do that, other people is also at their best self. That creates the most ultimate team that you can
Yes.
ever have, and it's continue
And
to go
I,
on and on forever and ever.
I agree. And it's sustainable. And not only that, like the what's that come out of it, you'll never, ever, ever expect, like, down the road. We talked about this yesterday. Like, all I can think about is America in this instance. It's an idea. It was founded on, let's make money. Like, whatever we started to make money with, let's just say it was, slavery and cotton and farming or something, or agriculture, right? Like, let's just say America was founded for that in particular. As soon as that would have deteriorated as soon as, like, all the slavery stuff went out the window, right? Or if it was founded for things that have happened over the years, for industrial stuff when it became industrial, or if it was founded for this, or if it was founded for that, like, eventually things change. The what that people do changes over time. It just is what it is. Like, you can't ever maintain the same what forever, because we always evolve and we always grow. But what you can maintain is the same ideas that connect people together, that want to go produce more. Look at how many different times America has evolved since, we've gone through the Industrial Revolution, we've gone through the Agricultural Revolution, the Computer Revolution. You get my point. We're not founded to do a particular thing or not. We find the things because we're all connected together, because we want to be here for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And then the what's spin out of that. Like, I mean, you can't get any more clear than that. Like, there's no way, like, Salesforce can try to add as many new products to Salesforce. They can acquire as many new companies as they want to acquire. Sure, at eventually a certain point in time, you can feel like you're sustainable because you just become so robust and, like, too big to fail or whatever. But it's not too big to fail when you're only centered on a what. The what only goes so far. I mean, that's just is what it is. There is no other way to repackage any of this stuff. You're there to make money. They exist to make money. That is it. America exists for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. What the fuck does that even mean? I don't know. That's the whole point, is nobody knows. What does Clubany mean? Like, I don't know. You don't know. We're trying to figure it out, and we'll continue to try to figure it out. But that's the whole reason why it will continue to exist, and why we will produce more what's out of this whole entire thing. Flip it all around. You can still produce commerce in America. We produce a shitload of money. Like, we make a shitload of money in America, but it wasn't founded because of that. That is not why it was founded.
Right, because you think about what you just said, what company stands for, right? Because you're talking about the life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right? That thing is a cycle. It's a continuous cycle.
Yeah,
It doesn't end. But you
it's
look at
abstract.
you look at a value that you say, well, I want to make money, and I'm going to make more money than this person or whatever. You have a definitive goal. That
Tangible.
definitive goal
Yep.
is going to get, you're going to get to that mark. And then when you get to that mark, it's always going to be, it's going to stop, because people are, okay, because let's say you and I go work for Salesforce, right? What's our purpose of working for Salesforce?
Generate more growth and revenue and money.
To get enough money so that I can go do my Mexican fisherman thing, right?
That's true. Yeah.
You get money so you can do your tennis thing or your racquetball
Right.
thing, right? So the thing is, when you hit that, you're going to move away. So that's my point, is when you have this target, what is your purpose? And the thing is, you think about the society today, why are people go work? Why do people like, I'm asking you, like, what is the majority of people saying, why do they need to, why are they working?
I mean, most people these days, I think we've even duped ourselves to say like it's not necessarily all about money, because it isn't necessarily all about
But
money.
then,
But I think
yeah,
at the end of the day, it
exactly
is.
what
That
you
is the
say.
only reason why
You're duping
you work.
yourself.
Right,
You're
right,
duping yourself. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I
yeah.
agree. You're duping yourself by saying, "Hey, it's not about money," but it is about money. Well, if you go to work for Salesforce and Salesforce say, "Hey, you gotta pay 20K to work for Salesforce," do you want to work? I mean, just like
No,
Nazim, right? Right? Like
no,
Nazim,
yeah,
what
yeah,
there is a purpose for him. That's why he's happy
yes.
to pay 20K. What does he want?
To
What
work
does
at
he?
McDonald's, he wants to be a
He
part
wants
of.
to be here. He wants to be in the United States of America. That's what he wants. So that's the difference between. That's what I'm saying is you and I into our society when we go to work, right? If you don't say you say no to that, that means your wants, your core value is something else,
Yeah,
right? Like I said, we sound like a broken record, but the answer goes back to the same thing we said before. It is what it is that you're willing to pay to do, to get to
yep,
do. It's not about what you get out of it, because if you think you get out of it, that is a transitional core value. So when a transition core values, it never going to align with who you are, and you will never ever going to put out your best effort because you are yearning to get out of that thing to go to a place where you want to be, right? Because
yep.
that's human being. I mean, I can't put any plain as than that, because at the end of the day, it's about how your cells make you feel. If you feel like, hey, this is pressure, you think about pressure, right? Pressure to you and to me is different because like I told you, a guy making $1 million, right? He is stressed out and he hates his job and he hates his neighbor because his neighbor make 1.1 million instead of him making 1 million. Or you look at Nazim, he's like, hey, I have to pay 20K and I have to work McDonald's, but he has a
Yeah,
smile on his face. The other guy has a grumpy face. So you tell me, what's the difference between the two? It isn't about
it's a
like,
huge difference. There's a huge, because one of them's doing it not for revenue purposes. Like, I mean, if you asked me right now, could I do my job that I do right now for commerce, for money, for the rest of my life? Like, could I do it? Sure.
probably if you have a lot of willpower, you can probably be
Yeah.
there the longest. But eventually, like maybe you're 70 years old or 75
Oh,
years old or
I'm
85
gonna
years,
quit.
you're gonna
Yeah.
say, hey, fuck that,
I'm
I
done.
ain't gonna
Yeah,
work
yeah.
anymore. Like
I don't
90,
do
I
this.
mean, like you want to push it. I said, how 95 years old,
Right.
99 years old, right? If you're 100, like 103, right, you're gonna quit at 100. I ain't gonna do it. So that
Yeah.
point is, I don't care how much willpower you have. It isn't what you want. It
Okay.
isn't what you want, you're gonna stop. But if it's something you want, it doesn't matter. You're gonna do it until the day you die.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, you can say, "Hey, I love to play tennis, right? I'm gonna play tennis until I cannot hold a racket anymore,
Well,
right?"
it doesn't even have to be as tangible as playing tennis either. Like, I
Exactly.
mean,
I'm saying
it's you're
I'm
gonna
just
be
giving you
yourself
an
until the day you
example
die.
of what it
Like,
is. But
right.
people have different calling. The
Right.
cell.
What I was trying to say though is like you're going to be yourself no matter what until the day you die. Like
Yes.
that is the only thing that'll never. So if you're going to be the best at something, be the best at being yourself and understand who you are and who you want to be, and you can be yourself for the rest of your life until the day you die.
You do this, right? We know that if you get to do exactly what you want to do, you will have a smile on your face when you leave this earth.
Yeah.
Because you think
Agreed.
about it, I
Yeah.
mean, that is who you are. I mean, and you cannot change who you are. You cannot dupe yourself and say, "Well, I don't." Now if you telling me that it's not about money, then why didn't you pay me? So you say,
Yeah.
"Well, it's
Right.
not about money, but you need to pay me. There's a minimum amount." I said, well, and it is about money.
Then it is about money. Yeah. Of course. Like if you wouldn't do the job that you're doing for free, then you probably shouldn't do it. I mean, in all
I mean,
seriousness.
you're
Like,
not playing tennis for free. You pay to play tennis.
yeah. Like if somebody's like, wait a minute, I don't have to pay for something I love. Like, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do that.
I get to do this,
I'm,
and that's a big difference. I mean, that is what I'm saying in society today, like in its existence today, there is no way that some company is going to be able to create that culture. No way.
possible.
Flip it upside down. So you
Yes.
have to say, well, I'm gonna pay you, all right? I'm gonna pay you a scholarship. My company is gonna pay you to be
To be
yourself.
you.
So you come in to say, oh, I'm not expecting you to produce anything. So what? You expect me to? That's the only way to flip it upside down. Because you
It
think
is.
about it, anybody who comes together and say, well, I'm gonna do this. Because the thing is, when you already start out on the wrong foot, because that already creates this point of reference where you say I am focusing on this target, and that target, it was never my end game intention. It is
Right.
always a transition, and you target a transitional core values, it will never ever going to last. And that's, to me, is as plain as I can put it.
Yep. You can't. Yeah. I mean, I agree. I know. Deep down inside, I told you before we started this one that I was out playing pickleball for 2.5 hours today, and I haven't eaten dinner, and I'm really hungry. And I was like, maybe we can wrap this one up a little early. I mean, I'm not doing this on purpose, but like, I don't even know that we need to talk about this anymore because we've talked about this so much over the past 3 years. And this book reminded me of it. This journey is a lot about clubbing, the evolution of clubbing too, right? This is like the founding principle of clubbing, right? Like, we want meaningful work, meaningful relationships in a culture. We want that. We need that. We crave that. That is a part of being human. But we're saying you can't use that. That is manipulative to use that desire to want to create meaningful work with people that you care about and build a culture around it so you can get something else out of it, right? Like, all I want to get out of that is for you to enjoy being around people you like to do stuff with and doing stuff that you like to do. No, there's no bullshit behind it. There's no manipulation behind it. It is exactly what this title says. Just treat people like people because it's the right thing to do. Like, I mean, like, why is this such a revolutionary thought? You know what I mean? Don't manipulate me and who I am to get something out of for you. Like, that's not that hard.
What's the purpose? What's the ultimate end game purpose?
For you to produce something of value for them to make more
For
money.
them, my question to us is, what are we getting out of having people inside a company?
Just people being good people. Yeah.
Because the thing is, I'm not getting anything out. I already have.
We're gonna have to go work hard to get.
The thing is, I'm not getting anything out of putting people in a company, because right now I'm already having. To me, I feel like I have a good life. That means that with this, you and me inside a company, my life is great. Okay, because I feel I'm at peace with myself. I do all these things. I talk shit to you all day long, and I'm myself. I am who I am. So this is the person I am, and I guess you and I do these every single night, and we are energized by the conversation we have. And so we have another person in. All we do is add another piece of fun, but this is what we want. It is something else. That's what I'm saying is, when you have a core value that is a transitory, then that isn't it. But if the core value is directly what you do, you and I do this. These are core values. So there's nothing else we want beyond just having a company, right? Company is already existing. Company, whether you want to make it bigger or whatever, it's part of, just like talking about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, right? That isn't like, hey, there is a certain level of life and a certain level of liberty. It is what it is. Company is company, right? So all value is about the balance of life in company. And to me, if you bring people in, it's still inside of the company realm of core values.
Right.
So the idea isn't move beyond something else. It isn't a transitory phase. It is, we still want to be company. We just want it to be, bring other people in, trying to get company to grow and have that understanding,
I want to produce more meaningful work that we like to do, like with more people. I love producing meaningful work. It's fun.
That's exactly it is, because, like I say, it's a direct core values that we want versus, hey, I'm gonna build company, and when company gets to this point, I'm gonna take a certain amount of money. I'm gonna go and become, Elon Musk or no, I mean, nothing that Elon Musk or whatever. That's the point. Is when you have a different goal than what you're doing, then you are not starting out on the right foot, and that's going to cost you time. And when you do that,
it's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's just not pure.
Well, it's up to.
Oh no, it is pure. I mean, it's different. It's just a different thing. That's fine. We are not saying that businesses don't have a place in this world the way that they are currently constituted. That's not it at all. All I'm saying is for everybody else that knows that this is a shit sandwich wrapped in a Tiffany's box when they go into the office every single day, and they're like, look, I still love to create meaningful work with meaningful relationships and do it in a culture that I like, but I just don't want that culture taken from me. I don't want that culture to be wrapped around, contingent.
But how many times have you gone to a company that it matches your core values and culture 100%?
Never.
Some
I mean, that's
companies
impossible. And
some
that's a sure
company has a
company.
higher alignment, right?
Right.
Some do, but most of them are like maybe one or two core values that's in there. Right?
It's
and then
impossible.
and
I mean,
then on a rare occasion, you found somebody, some company that's 100%, 80%, and
right.
even then, that 8% is start to decline over time. And so that's what I'm saying is you cannot continue to. It's not sustainable for you to continue down that path. Eventually, you're gonna hate that job. You're gonna move
Yeah.
somewhere else, and you'll be somewhere. And that's what I'm saying is
Or
at
they
the
get
end of the
acquired,
day.
they get sold, the business stops making money and they go out of business. Like, I mean, there's a million ways for that all to fizzle out, right? Like, well, it
So
can
when
never
it fits,
fizzle out.
and you start
You're,
over, and then they say, "Well, I
you're
have
lost puppies,
wasted." I mean, how long does a human life, a human lifespan? 100 years, right?
Right.
I mean, to be,
Hopefully.
if you, hopefully, I mean, 100 years. That's what the insurance, kind of give you on a whole life policy. They give you 100 years, and
Right.
so 100 years is supposed to be your lifespan, not the max. I mean, it's not the the I guess the median. The median is like 70 or something like that. But the thing is, you say, hey, I have 70 years, and I wasted like 20 years in school and being conditioned and being brainwashed, whatever. And then suddenly I'm being in this cogwheel of things for the next, 50 years. And then what? What is the point of, I mean, you're saying, hey, if life is the most precious commodity in the world to you and you're wasting it, and you say, well, I'm okay with this transitory core values of mine, so that whenever I get to that point, and if you get to that point where you can say, hey, I have made enough money, now I'm going to retire and I'm going to do what I want. So how long are you going to be able to do what you want? Think about it. And be able to eat the cake that you want and go. Like I said, you want to go fishing, right? How long can be? I mean, you like 65, 69 before you retire. Can be retired, and then you can go fishing, and then what I'm saying is the bulk of your life has been in this transitory, in this temporary phase where you hated your life because your
That
life
sucks.
is not what you
It
want.
sucks. Yeah.
It sucks, and when
It sucks.
you're taking the misery for what? And that's what I'm saying is, if you think that's okay, okay. I mean,
There,
it's your
there's this,
prerogative, but I'm just giving you. I'm just telling you what I see.
yeah, at the best cultures that are built around businesses, you do feel like it all comes together where it is an alignment of meaningful work and meaningful relationships and a great culture that you want to be around. That's the best that you can possibly get in this scenario is you get that for this small blip of time, because it'll go away eventually. For the small blip of time, you get to feel that feeling, and then it gets taken from you. It's like if you had a lion in a cage at a zoo, and then you let him go run free in the African savannah for like 2 years, and then you're like, "Yep, taking it back." And they're gonna go, "What? No! Like, I loved it out here. Why is this happening?" Like, then they got to sit there and stare at everybody walking by them every single day in their little cage, and they're like, "Fucking motherfuckers!" Like, I know what it feels like to be able to be who I want to be, and then you assholes like took me out of here. Is it worse never knowing, or is it worse getting the chance to do this, where they give you this sliver of taste of what it's like to be totally in alignment, and then being yourself, and then all of a sudden they take it away from you? What's worse? Like, I mean, obviously the best scenario is you just let lions go be lions and leave them the fuck alone.
Right, because you think about it, it isn't about logic. It's not about logic, because it defies logic. Because you say, well, for most people in the matrix, we're talking about, the matrix. You're talking about people who say, well, I would rather not know. People say ignorance is bliss, right? And so you think about the majority of the people in the matrix, they would prefer to stay in the matrix and not to go out and have to struggle, right? But it's logical for people to say, well, I don't want to struggle. Just plug me in and let me be. But the thing is, that is not logic, because that's not who you are. You are a person, and your person is driven by your gene and your DNA and your emotions.
Yeah.
And your emotions say, if you had all your faculties, that would be so boring for you, that you're going to wish that you don't exist. And that's the thing is like I say, it's not it's not a logical thing, because majority of people will say, well, if I don't have to struggle and fight and die, then there's not. I should stay in the matrix. But you say, to me, it's like, well, I mean, if you say to me right now, right, America is the land of the free, right, and America stands for life, liberty, and absolute happiness, and you say, well, true, some countries going to take over and say, well, thing is, I'm gonna plug you into my culture, and you don't have to do anything. Just be, my slave, and just do whatever I ask you. No struggle.
Not happening.
But not happening. I will fight you to the. I would rather die than for you to take
I
that
agree.
away.
Yeah.
So the
Right.
thing is, you think about how Neo and everybody else in the Matrix, right? They don't understand what core values is. That's why they would choose logically to say, "Hey, I'm going to stay in the Matrix and be this battery." But you think about it, if you understand, just like I do now, right, that America is about life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. I would not give it to you. I would not let you take it away. I don't care how much. I mean, I would give my life to fight for it. Yeah, not happening. You can say, well, let's say China or somebody become really, really powerful and say, well, I'm not a good dictatorship or whatever it is. And you can say, I'm not going to harm you as long as you just do what you need to do.
Make us
You do
money.
your work.
Just
You work. You do work and make batteries for me and make me money. And you
we'll give you a life.
Just like a lot of people in China right now, they just do what they're told.
Right.
If you do what they're told, we don't beat you up, right? But the thing is, that is a easy way out. And you think about the Matrix in terms of the analogy to the Matrix in that scenario. That's what I'm saying is I'm only going to say this to the American audience who understand what America means, right? The people who do that, it's like, well, yeah, I understand with hey, because this is the idea that I want. This is the core value I for. Without that, I cannot live. Therefore, I will fight for it. So the thing is, when you have that core values, even in the Matrix, for Neo to say, well, I would rather take the red pill than the blue pill because I don't want to be that because this is something I really want to be out of the Matrix, to control my own destiny, to control what I can do. And that's the reason why human beings are like that. It's not logical, it's emotional. Because if you think about it, that's what I'm saying is only Americans will understand what I'm saying. Because in people in other country, without understanding America first, they won't understand what I'm saying. Why would you, die for some, land of the free and then home of the brave? And why are you so stuck on that idea? What kind of stupidity are you have in your head? They won't understand it. They will not. But that's the thing, is that's human beings. I'm saying that to me that's human beings. Human beings have that irrational to them. But that's who we are. And we have to be that person. We cannot say, well, I'm logical, I don't need this, I don't need that. No, it isn't. You cannot live your life without your genes, saying, hey, I yearn for this and you don't give it to me.
Yeah.
It's not gonna happen. It's going to poor you, it's gonna make you miserable. You think about it. If you say, hey, I like to eat cake and now I don't have to eat the frog, right? It's torture. If you say I need to breathe air and say, hey, I'm gonna, pinch your nose and strangle your throat so that you can't breathe, right? You struggle. That's what the body wants. That's what the genes wants, right? If they want that, you have to give it to them. You cannot. You're going to fight that. And so what I'm saying is, as human being, there are certain things that we have to do because we are a human being. Emotions and irrationality, it is one of our nature. And our nature is like that because once we held on to the ideal, it will make us happy to do that. That's why we Nazim as a perfect example of what we mean when we say, well, there is a solution for me to stay here, for me to pay 200K and then work at McDonald's. Well, thank you so much for this program.
Yeah, thank you.
You think, but you look from the other side, it doesn't make sense.
Not at all. I mean, that's the whole point. Ignore everybody, meaning scales. Like, you remember it was meaning scales? It doesn't have to make sense for everybody. How could you understand what's in here? Sure, we can maybe talk every night, but you're never going to know who I am and who I want to be and how I feel after I, do something that either aligns, it makes me feel good and I feel like eating the cake, or when I eat the frog, right? I ate the fucking frog today. I was arguing with this poor guy about list building. List building. Like this is like Allen Iverson going, we're talking about practice, man. Practice, not a game, like practice. We're talking about list building, man. Like we're talking about who gives a shit. And we're arguing where I had to like send a Slack message to the person and say, hey man, sorry, we're on the same team. Like it's all good. Like, this is not a big deal. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and I hear myself just say what I just said, and I'm like, the fuck am I talking about? Why am I talking about this shit? Like, why are we talking about this? I don't care. Like, I mean, we're talking about practice, man. You know what I mean? Like, not a game, practice. Yeah. All right. I gotta go eat dinner. I am starving.
We try to cut it short, but only cut it 10 minutes.
That'll be all right. I'm sure we could have kept going. I officially have to go eat dinner because it's late and I got to go to bed too. So the question we can leave for everybody is, what were the conditions present when you've produced your best work? Just something to think about. And then how can we recreate that, right? How can we recreate that for the right reasons and the good reasons?
We already told you that.
Right. Oh, I know.
We tell
We
you
know.
how. Just put it into practice.
Right. Yeah.
We tell you how to.
Yeah. Just let us know what that is and we'll find a way to make it possible for you to do that. That's what we want. All right. Thanks for joining and we will see you all
Monday. See ya.